Everyone's favorite sporting event in the world is undoubtedly the World Cup. So here are the 7 levels of the modern World Cups explained. Level 1. Disgraceful. Nothing kills a World Cup faster than corruption and scandal taking over. And although the 2002 edition might be iconic, it was surely surrounded by mystery, with some even saying that it was rigged, and the reasons are really there. In the round of 16, South Korea met Italy, and the referee was Byron Moreno. During the match, it seemed like he never signaled fouls against South Koreans, but whenever Italy's players made the slightest contact with the opposition, he was quick to whistle. And the referee's mistakes were about to get worse when he wrongly disallowed Italy's golden goal for offside. He then incorrectly sent Francesco Totti off for diving, even though replays show clear contact. These were the 2 major incidents that made Italy lose the match. But it gets even more controversial if we talk about the referee's background. Byron Moreno was suspended by the Ecuadorian Football Federation after he signaled 6 minutes of added time with the score at 2-3, but instead played 13 minutes, during which the opposition team scored twice, turning the match into a 4-3 loss. This should have been a clear sign to not appoint him as the referee for the World Cup, but it wasn't even the biggest robbery during 2002. In the quarter-finals, South Korea met with Spain, and again, just like with Italy, Spain were disallowed perfectly legal goals. Not once, but twice. The motive was that the ball was out of play during the phase when Spain scored, but replays again showed that the ball didn't cross the line. As a result, Spain were eliminated by South Korea after a penalty shootout, generating a huge scandal over the referee's decisions. Level 2. Underwhelming. But before we talk about that, we are close to hitting 1 million subscribers on this channel, so make my dream come true by subscribing and liking this video. It takes you only 5 seconds. Thank you. If you were to ask football fans about the most boring World Cup ever, they would probably say the 2018 edition. And if they won't say that, well, I will. For me, the 2018 World Cup never had that World Cup feeling. I don't even remember the theme song for the tournament, and it was also the first World Cup to use VAR, which made the games so strange. Especially because we were experiencing this for the first time. When players scored, you didn't know if you could celebrate or not, because VAR would intervene soon. In addition, Croatia going all the way to the final was for sure a beautiful story, but at the same time, it led to a very boring final. It was clear for everyone that France was going to win. There was no drama, no intrigue, and no fight. But above all, because of what's happening with Russia and Ukraine right now, I think we all kind of want to forget that this country once hosted a World Cup. This might explain why many, including myself, think that this was the most boring tournament ever, because we want to forget about it. Level 3. Chaotic. The 1998 World Cup. The first good World Cup on the list, but it is so poorly ranked because the other ones were so much more fun. 1998 was the first tournament with 32 teams instead of 24. Insane talents were emerging: Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Michael Owen and Thierry Henry. The host nations were also the ones who won it all, France, and the final was absolute cinema. Zidane scored 2 headers, becoming immortalized in football's history, with the final highlights looking more like Zidane highlights. But this World Cup also had its fair share of controversies. As good as Zidane was, the one France feared the most was Brazil's Ronaldo, and he made it to the final, but a few hours before the match, out of nowhere, Ronaldo Nazario suffered a seizure, collapsing in his hotel room. He was rushed to the hospital with the entire Brazil squad worrying about his health, but just 40 minutes before the game started, Ronaldo returns, despite suffering a seizure earlier. It was clear that he was out of it. He wasn't himself at all. He looked lost and scared. This was the main reason why Brazil were dominated in the final. But what happened to Ronaldo leading to the final makes this really suspicious. Until this day, nobody knows why Ronaldo suffered the seizure, but the fact that he returned so suddenly after suffering such a serious injury should also be noted. Fans have theorized that Nike forced Ronaldo to play in the final, as he was their main marketing strategy for the World Cup, and missing the final would be a tragedy for them. It is also speculated that the Brazilian Federation allowed him to play in fear of losing sponsorship money, as Nike weren't only Ronaldo's sponsors, but Brazil's as well. And guess what? The 1998 final was also between Nike and Adidas, as Adidas were sponsoring France. So was there any foul play involved? We will never know, but the situation surely looks strange, which undoubtedly made this World Cup even more famous. Level 4. Good. On this level, we have the 2006 World Cup hosted by Germany. It was truly special. Messi and Ronaldo made their World Cup debuts. The Battle of Nuremberg happened. Zidane was sent off in the final. But even before that, the football they used for this tournament was also special, the Teamgeist, a ball which was designed to be as round as possible. And the result? Insane knuckleballs and shots. It was also a tournament stacked with talents. I already mentioned Messi and Ronaldo, but Zidane was also there. Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Kaká, Thierry Henry, Buffon, Cannavaro, Gerrard, Lampard, and even Beckham. In addition to this, the final was legendary. Italy versus Germany, Buffon versus Zidane. And it was also Zidane's final game before retirement. He had the perfect chance to receive the best possible farewell. And he started off brilliantly by scoring a Panenka in a World Cup final. Italy then equalized and the game went to extra time. But just when France were about to enter the penalty shootouts, Zidane headbutts Materazzi and gets sent off in his last ever game. This level 5, iconic. South Africa, the Vuvuzelas, Waka Waka, Waving Flag, Shakira, Paul the Octopus, Shabalala, and the most iconic and popular football ever created, the Jabulani. All of these elements were present during only one tournament, making the 2010 World Cup one of the best editions ever. Of course, I already made a video about the Jabulani and how the Trionda could be our new Jabulani, but for the 2026 World Cup, so I'm not going to talk about the ball. But considering the pure fundamental goal of the World Cup, and that's the celebration of football, this was the greatest tournament ever. It's like if New Year's Eve was celebrated during the summer. That's how special it was. Diego Forlan trained with the ball before the tournament, and all of a sudden he became one of the best players in the world. Schneider and Robben carried the Netherlands all the way to the final. Casillas became, even if nobody expected it at first. When we remember that edition, we remember everything being colorful, joyful, and even hopeful. But wait, because the next World Cups were even better. Level 6, Elite. For many, this is the greatest World Cup ever, the 2014 edition. First of all, the location was perfect, because when someone says football, you automatically think of Brazil, and that's the nation that hosted the 2014 World Cup. In Brazil, a lot of incredible things happened. Spain got destroyed by the Netherlands, Suarez beat Chiellini and got a 4-month ban, the Flying Dutchman, the Brazuca, Messi carrying Argentina all the way to the World Cup final, James Rodriguez in his prime, and of course, one of the most iconic football matches of all time. Germany 7-1 Brazil. The country that symbolized football, the host nation for the World Cup, getting destroyed 7-1 in front of their own people was something unheard of. This portrayed an end of an era, but not only for Brazil. New talents were emerging like Neymar, James Rodriguez, Pogba, Kroos, Hazard, while legendary players like Iker Casillas, Fernando Torres, Xavi Hernandez, Samuel Eto'o began to fade. And the final was also filled with drama. Argentina with Messi against Germany's football machine, who won in the end thanks to a sensational goal from Mario Götze in the dying minutes. Everything about this World Cup was perfect. But the next tournament on this list is the greatest one ever because it told a story no other edition could. Level 7, Football Cinema. The World Cup 2022. Off the pitch, it might have been one of the worst World Cups ever, but on the pitch, it was a totally different story. Unlike the other tournaments, this one occurred during the internet's peak in terms of users. This World Cup is the most popular one ever. Almost 4 billion people saw Morocco reach the World Cup semi-finals, killing Ronaldo's dream of winning the World Cup. They saw Messi scoring one of the most important goals in his career against Mexico. They also saw IShowSpeed making the tournament funnier, Mbappe giving his best by scoring a hat-trick in the final, and it still wasn't enough. Saudi Arabia upsetting Argentina, Emiliano Martinez becoming the villain, and so many more great moments. But what made this World Cup the greatest is Messi's story. His biggest dream since he was a kid, but also his last chance of winning the most desired trophy in the world. It was now or never, and somehow the stars aligned. He got the right coach with the right generation at the right moment, but at the same time he wanted it more than anyone else. Messi scored in every knockout match while running like he was 21 again, and the 2022 World Cup final might really be the greatest final ever. Argentina led France 2-0, but then Mbappe scores one, then another to force the game into extra time. Messi scores his second, thinking he finally won it all, just for Mbappe to complete his hat-trick and send the game to penalty shootouts, where Argentina finally won. Only when Messi lifted the World Cup did people realize how great this tournament really was. Not because of the matches, highlights or skills overall, but because of the story it told us. The little boy from Rosario, who struggled so much to win this piece of silverware, who went through hell and back to make his country proud, finally got it. And in that moment he finally became for all the greatest of all time. But to find out about Messi's entire story with Argentina, check this video out, I'm sure you'll love it.